Hey guys, let's talk Feynman Timekeepers, a relatively new player in the microbrand space. And I have here the Feynman 1, the first model that Feynman Timekeepers released. And we're going to use this watch as a base to talk about Feynman Timekeeper timepieces. Are they worth your money? Are they worth your time? Let's do it. Let's start off by covering Feynman Timekeepers, the brand. Who are these guys? So Feynman started with a Kickstarter account. This is a Singaporean-based company, and no frills here in terms of heritage. Just a founder who wanted to create a watch that he could enjoy, and his son happened to be named Feynman. So no falsified connection to race cars or aeronautics. Just a watch enthusiast trying to make a watch that people can enjoy and fill in a gap in the horological community. I think this timepiece does just that. It's a rather unique design. Unfortunately, it does retail for $1,000 USD, so that puts it in kind of the upper range in terms of micro brands. And I think I'm going to have to compare this watch to either the new Zelos Dress collection timepieces or the fairer hand wind collections. These are both brands that I've handled in the past, so I'm kind of going to use them as a relative base to talk about this timepiece and this brand and the value that they bring. So let's start off by talking about what I like about this piece, and I'm going to use this founder's edition of the Feynman 1 as a base to talk about what you can expect. So, full disclosure, this is an aftermarket strap. I just love brown and green. Originally, it did come on this lizard strap here. It's quite nice, high quality. It has a material that's more sweat resistant and durable, and I appreciate that. Signed buckle, brushed and polished finishes. So always appreciate a buckle that has some thought into it, kind of a masculine, sharp buckle design. So good attention to detail with the strap and buckle, which kind of will flow into the watch here as I talk about it. Things I like about this watch. So I love the color. Unfortunately, only 50 pieces were made in this color. They come in green. They come in blue and white and red as well. But I love the color, the circular brushing around it. The construction of the dial and the case is actually quite complex compared to many, and I think it really does justify the price here. So you have this off-centered seconds dial, which kind of corresponds to this 4 o'clock crown adjustment here. Quite easy to use and wind, I would say, despite the unconventional spotting. It has a sub-second dial that's actually overlaid by the inner chapter ring, so slightly more complex in construction here. It's kind of cool to see the way the sub-second hand is kind of ticking away below that ring. You also have a honeycomb texture in the middle, but then outside of the ring of the sub-second dial, you can see how they're using a kind of a more wavy or circular guilloche below. And so again, just very nice attention to detail here, right? Applied branding for the Feynman and, use of a sapphire glass. Unfortunately, the sapphire glass distorts the outer chapter ring, making it quite hard to read in terms of time. But a lovely vintage look here. And also, let's be honest, you're not really wearing this watch to read the time, ironically. Case construction is quite very nice. I find it very nicely detailed and very nicely designed. I like the fact that they're using a brushed bezel on top, quite nicely brushed. And then you have this high polished ring, which sandwiches the coined reggae style side profile here. A signed crown with textures as well. Masculine lugs. So just an overall nice use of different techniques. Brushing, polishing, coining. It's just a very thoughtfully designed and more complex in terms of manufacturing watch. Even the case back here is a little special, and I don't know if this really is something that people care about, but having small movements on larger watches, this is not that large, 39 millimeters in diameter, but still, having smaller movements on larger watches, oftentimes you get that issue where the movement looks undersized for the watch, and Feynman kind of mitigates this by constructing it to where the sapphire window or glass case back here is much more full. You can see it takes the majority of the diameter of the case, because the way they constructed it, they had the filling, the metal filling here, which is typical, to be under the glass. So it just looks a lot more full, probably more complex and expensive for construction. Again, nice attention to detail. Love it. Now this watch is sport an ETA 7001 movement, 42 or 43 hours power reserve, 21,000 beats per hour, workhorse movement. It is a top grade movement, whereas Zelos uses an elaborate grade, so slightly higher grade here, which gives you a better finishing as well as slightly better precision and regulation. So workhorse movement, Swiss-made movement, I like that. So as you can see, you're really starting to bridge that gap into why the Feynman one is a $1,000 Microbrand watch. What I don't like about this watch as much, just a couple of things. One, obviously, I already talked about, quite difficult to read in terms of time. This is slightly mitigated by the fact that there's an inner chapter ring here, so it helps me set the time, but nonetheless, with this distortion, it is kind of renders the outer ring useless for the most part, depending on the angle that you look at it. I also don't like the fact that, and this is a difficult one. This is a difficult criticism, but in the end, it has no backing from Swiss made or Japan made, right? And the Fairer, again, because I'm comparing the two, the Fairer, which is a $1,000 manual wiring watch, is a Swiss-made watch. Say what you will about Swiss-made, right? A lot of conspiracies. What exactly does that mean? Is that even meaningful? But in the end, when you don't have a kind of backed, watch in terms of origins, you just have to do more research and trust the company and the QA team of the brand more. While I do think Zelos and Feynman both make amazing watches, it's just something more that you have to think about when you don't see that Swiss-made or Japan-made label. Other than that, really, I found myself wearing this watch a lot compared to the rest of my collection, even though I have many more expensive timepieces, because it is of high quality. It looks great. You kind of love it or hate this design, but if this is a design that you enjoy and you're looking for a quality timepiece, then Feynman Timekeepers, definitely a brand to look out for. They actually recently released a dive variation of this watch, which I also find quite handsome. So check that out if you're interested.